Welcome back. I'm Monika and you're listening to Breathe. This is life. There is so much going on right now, astrologically, in the stars, and so much input coming at you from every direction. And that's wonderful. That's really wonderful. And yet, or maybe precisely because of that, it's wearing on your nerves. Do you feel it? We are right in the middle of eclipse season. A solar eclipse behind us, a lunar eclipse ahead of us, Mars running outside its normal lane in between. And people keep saying, "Oh, did you feel the solar eclipse? It was so intense." And others says, "I didn't feel a single thing." So, what's wrong with us? And I can tell you, nothing is wrong. And that's exactly what I want to help you with today. I want to shine a little light into this dense forest. So you have some direction, some sense of where to put your focus on, why certain things are the way they are, and what actually matters right now, and what maybe doesn't. Today I want to actually answer the question properly, not just astrologically, mostly on the soul level, because that's really where the answer lives. I'm not going to go too deep here. I don't know astrology down to the last detail myself, and I don't need to, and neither do you. Part of the answer sits in your birth chart. And here is a picture that might make this easier to feel into. Imagine you have an antenna on top of your head. It reaches up, out into the universe. So when a full moon, an eclipse, a transit lands exactly on one of your personal points, so maybe your sun, your moon, your ascendant, it's as if that antenna gets struck. A small electric charge runs straight down through it into your body and right into your nerve system. And believe me, you feel it, whether you want to or not. And someone standing right next to you might have an antenna pointed in a completely different direction, a different birth chart, a different alignment. Those same stars simply pass them by. Not because they are less aware, their antenna just isn't catching that particular signal. That's it. That's part of the answer. But it's only a small part. We all know people who are night owls. And we know people who are early birds. Some people have their best ideas at 3 a.m, and others are wide awake and sharp at sunrise. One person is far more connected to the moon than others. Part of that comes from the birth chart, yes. But part of it comes from something way older. From where you come from, spiritually. And it really doesn't matter whether you believe in reincarnation or not. But let's say for a moment that you might do or see it on a neutral level. We arrive on this earth carrying something like a slip of paper, a short list of tasks we get to learn. Whether we finish learning them is a whole other question. But let's say we arrive already carrying the list. And that ties into the stars too, into everything happening around us. Whether we are spiritual or sensitive has nothing to do with it. So I could go much deeper into that alone, but here is what matters most for you today. For some of you, connecting with the sun matters more. If your soul's task has to do with your innermost joy, with reconnecting to that spark inside you, then the sun matters more for you than the moon does. The moon, on the other hand, governs feeling emotions. And this is exactly why a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse carries so much different energy. A solar eclipse shows you this. Everything outside is blooming, shining alive. And then suddenly the sun is gone. Even it's only for a fraction of a second, a moment too brief for you to consciously register. Your subconsciousness register it. And when the sun disappears outside, even briefly, you're giving permission to feel it inside instead. You can give yourself the permission to feel it inside instead. For some people, that's super easy. Feeling their own inner sun comes naturally, because that was never their learning task to begin with. For others, it's incredibly hard, because feeling inward is something they never learned. Maybe they were never allowed to learn. And that, right now, might be exactly their task. So as you can see, all of this ties back to the same energies. And everyone reacts to them differently, because everyone is carrying a different package. If you say, the full moon never really does anything to me, maybe that's just not your them right now. If you believe in past lives and incarnation and reincarnation, maybe you have already lived that 1,000 times. And you don't need to feel that intensely again. And that doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It just means your soul is working on a different direction right now, or at a different topic right now. And this is so much less to do with whether you are sensitive enough or too sensitive. It's about what matters to you here on this earth, in this life, to experience right now. The feeling you are being invited to learn to feel. The tool you are being invited to learn to use. That's what you often respond to far more intensely than someone standing right next to you. And what's effortless for one person can be exhausting for others. Both come from something deeper. You are not wrong. Nothing is wrong with neither you or the other one. Your soul just has a different topic, a different learning task. And this month, every month, but this month carries a few powerful themes. A solar eclipse, Mars running outside its lane like crazy. A window of strong creative energy, and a lunar eclipse at the end of the month. I'm not going to walk through every detail one by one today. Instead, I want to invite you feel into it for a moment. Where do you recognize yourself right now? And maybe for you it's a theme of boundaries. Maybe everything feels too much, and you can now allow yourself to return to your own protected space, to your inner protective space. Or maybe it's about releasing something old, something which you have carried for so long, and the learning task is just to let it go. Let it go with the full moon. Let it go. Or maybe none of this is yours right now. And that's just as valid. You don't have to feel all of it. Allow yourself to find yourself in whatever is actually true for you. And here is something that can help you figure this out for yourself. Not only for this month, but for every month going forward. Once a month, I walk you through what's energetically in astrology is happening. And if you want to know what you specifically respond to, mark those days in your own calendar. And then just feel. How do you feel on those days? How does your body react? What do you notice? Are you exhausted? Are you extremely tired? Are your nerves running crazy? Maybe you have superpower. Or maybe on those days you are extremely creative. That more and more ideas are coming through you. For example, every event, every full moon, new moon, eclipse, you can say it always starts 3 days before an event is. Let's say, for example, the full moon, the energy of the full moon starts always 3 days before the actual full moon is. And it also goes the next 3 days. So with a full moon, for example, you have a time window from approximately 6 days. So be aware of the 6 days. You might feel the full moon way intense at the beginning, or at the end, or in the middle, or none of it. And this is self-observation. Use it. And over time, it shows you exactly how your own system works. And on top of it, if you are a woman, we have our own cycle as well. This also works through. We have our hormones who act sometimes crazy. And that's a part too. So maybe you can include that. How does your cycle react in the whole system during the high spots when your antenna get hit by lightning? Again, you don't need to know astrology by heart. I don't either. This was never about understanding every constellation. It's about knowing yourself, your body, your soul, your entire system. Knowing about you. And once you know that, these astrological reference points became a tool. Not one more thing that you can do or have to do, but to make it even easier, whatever your learning point is right now. if you don't perceive something the way the person next to you does, you are not wrong. The other person is not more or less sensitive. Your soul just has a different alignment, different task to receive, different task to learn. Tell me about your antenna. Leave me a comment. And thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And if this episode gave you something to hold on, share it with someone who needs it right now. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. And don't forget to breathe. Bye.